there's an easier way. Hi, I'm Thomas Schwarz from AEVALE. Today I'd like to remotely control my PQBox, view online data and transfer measurement data. When is this useful and how does it work? I will show you various ways in which this can be easily implemented via Ethernet, Wi-Fi and with a secure VPN tunnel. Firstly, when does it make sense to operate the PQBox remotely? The installation site is often a hazardous area with open, live parts and limited space. So why spend an unnecessarily long time in the danger zone? Connect the PQBox and close the door. I can conveniently check the correct installation and initial measurement data on my smartphone or laptop at a safe distance. Someone else can also install the PQBox for me and I simply check whether the installation is correct and the measurement data is plausible. Or the recording runs over a longer period of time and I want to check after just a few hours or days to see if there have been any faults. Here too, I want to access the measurement data conveniently, no matter from where. Secondly, how do I do that? I can use a laptop to communicate with a PQBox either wired via Ethernet or wirelessly via Wi-Fi. I will explain 4 different examples. First, the PQBox as a Wi-Fi access point. Second, with the Ethernet cable directly to the PQBox. Third, the PQBox via Ethernet or Wi-Fi in a network. And fourth, access via a secure VPN tunnel. The complexity increases gradually, so let's start with the simplest of the 4 examples. The PQBox as a Wi-Fi access point. If the PQBox has the Wi-Fi option, it can create a Wi-Fi access point, in other words, its own Wi-Fi network. I activate it on the PQBox 150, 200 and 300 in the setup menu under network by setting the network mode to WLAN. Wi-Fi is always active on the PQBox 50. In the factory setting, the password consists of the last 8 characters of the serial number, including the dash. I can also edit all network settings via PQMobil in the device configuration under network. If the network settings have been changed, the PQBox restarts. The access point is then active and the network appears on the smartphone and laptop as an available Wi-Fi network. I connect to the relevant network on my smartphone. Now open the PQBox app, connect to the PQBox and I can see the measurement data, oscilloscope values, phasor diagram and much more. I can also parameterize the basic settings of the PQBox and start or stop a recording. To be able to access the PQBox with the laptop and the PQMobil software, I have to set it up once. I first connect the laptop with the Wi-Fi of the PQBox. Then I start PQMobil, navigate to Setup and open the Connection Manager. This is where the software manages all TCP/IP connections. I add a new connection by clicking on the plus sign. I take the IP address of the PQBox from the operating instructions or find it on the display of the PQBox under Setup, Network, WLAN Interface. By default, this is 172.168.2.4. I leave the port at 5001. Optionally, I can assign an individual name for this PQBox and click on Connect. The connection status below shows whether the connection has been successfully established. At the same time, I can clearly identify the PQBox based on the details displayed. Click OK, and with the help of PQMobil, I can now configure the PQBox analyze online data, or start, stop and transfer a recording. An important note: the PQbox communicates via only one interface at a time. If, for example, it is connected via USB cable during configuration using the laptop, I must disconnect the cable in order to communicate with the PQbox via LAN or Wi-Fi afterwards. Of course, I can communicate with several PQboxes at the same time, even through different interfaces. Connect directly to the PQbox with an Ethernet cable. For this, the network mode of my PQbox must be set to LAN under Setup Network. In the network settings, I can see the fixed IP address of the PQbox, as well as the subnet mask and the gateway. I leave all values at their default settings. The IP address is 172.168.2.4, subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and gateway 172.168.2.1. The PQbox is all set. Now it's time to prepare the laptop. First, I have to configure the network connection of my laptop manually. I open the settings to change the properties of the IPv4 connection. Here I manually enter an IP address for my laptop. I select 172.168.2.2. It is important that this is different from that of the PQbox. I leave the subnet mask at 255.255.255.0. The gateway and the DNS are irrelevant for communication in the same subnet and can be left blank. I connect the PQbox and the laptop with a network cable. If the laptop does not have a network connection, I can also use an adapter. Now I proceed exactly as before. Open PQMobil, setup Connection Manager and add a new connection. Enter the IP address of the PQbox, leave the port unchanged at 5001 and optionally enter a name. Connect and then confirm with OK. The PQbox via Ethernet or Wi-Fi in a network. If the PQbox is connected to a local network, there are further properties that need to be considered during configuration. I usually ask the IT administrator which parameters need to be set. Ethernet connection. In this example, I connect both the PQbox and my laptop to a router via Ethernet cable. For the laptop and the PQbox, I leave the configuration as in the previous example. All communication takes place via the router, which is why it is always a good idea to enter its IP address as the gateway in the network settings of the PQbox. It is also important here that no address appears twice in the network. In my example, the laptop is 172.168.2.2 and the PQbox has 2.4 at the end. The router's address ends with 2.1. In practice, the IP addresses are often defined by the IT department. And again, I proceed exactly as before. Open PQMobil, setup Connection Manager and add a new connection. Enter the IP address of the PQbox, leave the port unchanged at 5001 and optionally enter a name. Connect and then confirm with OK. Wi-Fi connection. Now I want to connect the PQbox and the laptop to the Wi-Fi network of a router. I can only make the relevant settings on the PQbox using the PQMobil software. The easiest way to configure the PQbox is to connect it to my laptop using a USB cable. In the configuration under Network Configuration, I change the Wi-Fi default settings from access point to client. Client means I can integrate the PQbox into an existing Wi-Fi network like a normal network subscriber. My router must be able to create a Wi-Fi network. If I am within range of this network with my laptop, I click on the Wi-Fi symbol and I can select the desired Wi-Fi network for my PQbox from the networks that my laptop sees. Confirm with OK and the name appears in the access point SSID field. However, I could also enter it manually, as I have to do with the password in the field below. The PQbox needs this to connect to the Wi-Fi. IP address, gateway and subnet mask must be entered as explained before. In principle, I am only changing the transmission medium from cable to wireless. And wireless, i.e. Wi-Fi, also has an SSID and a password. It is now important that I upload the settings to the PQbox. As soon as network settings have been changed, the PQbox reboots and connects to the Wi-Fi. Important: after successful configuration, I disconnect the USB cable, as the PQbox cannot communicate via USB and Wi-Fi at the same time. I connect my laptop to the same Wi-Fi network as my PQbox. And with the connection manager in PQMobil, I also manage this PQbox with the previously shown settings. Access via secure VPN tunnel. The PQbox does not communicate with the internet on its own, only in the local network. But I can access the local network and thus the PQbox via the internet using a VPN tunnel. The Tosibox Log mobile router and the corresponding key from our accessories catalog are perfect for this. The router comes pre-configured, so I am ready to go in just a few steps. All I need is a SIM card for internet access. I generally recommend always buying the SIM card from a local mobile phone provider to guarantee the best possible reception. There are short and simple instructions for the following procedure on our website. Where you can find them is also mentioned in the video description. First, I set up the mobile router. Insert the SIM card, connect the power supply and connect the laptop to the router. After a short time, open the web server via the IP address 172.168.2.1 in the browser. Enter the PIN for the SIM card under Network, Internal Modem and connect to the internet. Then navigate to Settings, Keys and Locks, generate a remote matching key and copy it. The router setup is complete and I disconnect my laptop again. I then connect the key to the USB port of my laptop and open the installation file on the key. After successful installation, start the Tosibox Key software. Via Devices Remote Matching, I can paste the previously copied remote matching key and start the process. My laptop needs an active internet connection for this. Now my key knows the corresponding log and I can see whether the log also has an internet connection. I connect with just one click and after a few seconds I am already connected to the Tosibox log via an encrypted, secure VPN tunnel. I connect the PQbox to the router, either via Ethernet or Wi-Fi as shown before, and I can easily access it via the internet.